Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this Warcraft Rumble dungeon guide video, I'm going to take a look at Deadmines on a Horde week, and more specifically, I'm going to take a look at Grommahs Hellscream with no talents whatsoever. I was able to clear a red difficulty dungeon with Grom without talents, and let's take a look at how. First, let's recap the boss mechanics. First, we have Mr. Smite here. Sabers and pistols then anchors away, and Mr. Smite it's really a tough fight, because Mr. Smite is going to get so much stuff for free. All of this stuff is going to respawn for free, these device bandits are going to respawn for free, there's going to be Stonehoof torrents that are going to come through this pipe, they're also going to be free, and that's in addition to everything that Mr. Smite has to actually pay gold for. So that's a big challenge. My main strategy for Mr. Smite is to take this meeting stone and control this area where there's 2 gold nodes. There's 1 gold vein over there on the other side. But I want to control this, and I want to push at Mr. Smite from this side. And I'm mostly focused on defending the other side. There are various methods to defend that. Some people like to use like wellbecks that they drop on the pipe to intercept the torrents. You can split your footmen, for example, here. There's a few things that you can do to defend, but hit from the right and kill Mr. Smite. The second boss in Deadmines is Cookie, and Cookie is also going to get a ton of stuff for free, just like Mr. Smite, although this is in some ways a little bit more manageable for him, because there's going to be these strike teams, and they're going to come from the left and then from the right, and then they're going to go down the same lane. So you need some way to handle this strike team. Some people use like Flame Burst Wellpacks, some people use Living Bomb, some people use Blizzard. Living Bomb is my personal favorite. With a Living Bomb, if you use it when they're near the tower, then they may blow up the tower depending on the level of your Living Bomb. If you use it already when they're here near the Cookie, then they will also damage Cookie when they blow up. So Living Bomb is just what I love to use in this map. I typically only take this leftmost tower. There's a couple of chests here and you have access to mining this. That means that if you don't have a Dark Iron Miner, you can't mine this node, but that's completely acceptable. Typically only take the left tower, blow up stuff with Living Bomb and push at Cookie. Taking the other towers, some other strategies too, but that's the one that I like to use. And finally, the third boss in Deadmines is Sneed, and Sneed's main mechanic is these copying pads. Whenever these pads sparkle, the next mini that's going to step on them is going to be destroyed, and it's going to be made into multiple copies that come from here under Sneed's control. Sneed also has Molten Giants, so if you let a Molten Giant get on the pad when it's sparkly, and then there's going to be a whole bunch of Molten Giants, and that's going to be a bit of a problem. There's a couple of things about this map. One is that this bridge is actually really important, because if you control this bridge and if you have ranged minis on this bridge, then they will shoot down at whatever comes out from here. So I've actually defeated Molten Giant pushes by just having minis shoot from here and then killing the Molten Giants. And another thing is that you actually have some control over what's going to be copied, because if you use Unbound minis, you can just drop Unbound minis here when the platform becomes sparkly, and then that mini is going to be copied. Or you can use Unbound minis to distract the Molten Giant to prevent it from getting copied. It's also a good idea to send miners constantly over the bridge, mine this, go over the bridge, because then your miners will often end up being copied. So you can work around this mechanic a bunch. Other than that, I like to push left, I like to take this tower, then I take this tower, and then I push at Sneed from here, and then Sneed will die unless too many bad things get copied and I somehow get overwhelmed by those. And here is the arm that I have been using with Grommash without talents to clear this dungeon. So I'm using Living Bomb, Batrider, Footman, Pyromancer, Safe Pilot, and Defias Bandits. And I'm not perfectly happy with this. Every time I feel like something is missing, but I just feel like in Deadmines it's so hard to have enough slots to have everything you want, especially in a Horde week, because I wouldn't necessarily want any Horde minis in my army. But I guess for the bonuses I kind of have to get something in here. Living Bomb luckily works even when it's underleveled, which is nice. Living Bomb is my answer to Cookie, the second map. On the first map, Footmen. Footmen are my secret sauce. I can split push with Footmen, which means that Footmen are also going to defend both flanks. I don't have space for Wellbecks. Wellbecks without Flame Burst are a little bit ineffective anyway. I mean, this could be different with talents, because then there would be Flame Burst Eggs, you could consider a Stonehoof Torrent with Momentum, you could consider a Shaman with Earth Shield. There would be some really fun units that you could play with, but without talents I think this is quite close to where we want to be. Then I have some elemental damage, I have Batrider, I have Pyromancer, AoE damage, really useful. And I have Safe Pilot. Safe Pilot is very responsive, can be used to destroy anything anywhere at any time. And I have Defiance Bandits for both for cycle and for the stun. The stun effect is actually really huge. Stun effect is making the first boss much easier, because when you get to stun it a little bit, then it doesn't blast your minis away from it nearly as often. And that just helps a bunch. What I'm really missing here, I'm missing like Quillbore or Dark-Eye Miner. Would be nice to be able to mine some of those deposits. I have tried to replace, I've tried to replace Bandits, I've tried to replace Pilot with the Miner. Neither of them just worked nearly as well, so yeah, there are awkward positions that you will run into sometimes. The last boss with the Batriders, you have only 2 minis that can kill Batrider, that's Pyromancer and the Safe Pilot. Then in the first boss you have to be very careful with your footmen, because you're relying on footmen both for attack and defense. You need to split them so that they will defend, but then you also sometimes need to put them all together so that you will get more attack power. So not an easy dungeon by any means, but I have found it to be doable at least with this comp, even without any talents. And this is what it all looks like in action. Alright, here we go. It's Deadmines and first boss, Mr. Smite, and I start with a split push of footmen. So 2 footmen are going to start defending my base from the left, and 2 footmen are going to start pushing. I actually want to send them to Meeting Stone. This is a little awkward because I only have now Safe Pilot as an unbound, and I really want to take that Meeting Stone, so sometimes it gets a little bit tough. Now especially with the AI deciding that, hey, we're gonna start spawning stuff there. So I need to send more things in and really try to get that Meeting Stone at the start. Because once I have that Meeting Stone, then no minis will come from there, no minis will intercept my miner either. So it's gonna be fine. And then more footmen, and I keep split pushing the footmen on regular basis so that they will intercept the torrent that's going to arrive, until I really want to start pushing in damage against Smite. So here, as you can see, the footmen are fighting against the torrent quite nicely over there on the side, and we can mine a little bit again. Hopefully we can anyway, because Smite gets so much free stuff. Getting access to that Meeting Stone is invaluable, because as you can see now I was able to get Grom to be part of this push. Well, the push itself kind of failed, but I managed to get Grom to be part of the push. I would not have been do that otherwise. And now I have an opening, which means that I can get the full footman squad on this side. So I didn't need them to defend right now because the torrent was otherwise involved. And we can get the push in, and the Defiance Bandits, as you could see, they were stunning the boss there a little bit. So also make it more difficult for the boss to do things. But now the boss just decides, hey, you were too boring, I'm just gonna go my merry way. Now we have this torrent, but as you can see, the torrent already took a bunch of damage because it's involved in the fighting, which is why I also had time to get the full footman push on the side. And now the situation is looking a little bit more bleak. We don't have any pressure at the moment. I still evaluate that I will be able to get a footman push here, even though there's the torrent coming. But right now I think it's okay, that torrent will be manageable. I can now try to attack, try to get things going. Let's see what actually happens. And so there the torrent arrives, and I actually should have saved the Batrider, so the Batrider would have killed the torrent. Now I'm, yeah, the stunners, Defiance Bandits with the stun. Now I was forced to get the Defiance Bandits out there to save my Pyromancer, but they were able to save the Pyromancer just in time. And as you can see, it's huge that I have the Meeting Stone, because otherwise there would be a constant stream of minis coming from there. Now we're going back to the split push with the footmen. We need the defense on both sides, and we're ready to try another push at the boss. We put in some power here, and let's go. At this moment I think everything's looking pretty good. I'm hopeful that this push will end the boss, but it doesn't look like it will, because that Prowler arrives and it kills both of my Pyromancers. Yeah, that one hurt. Anyway, footmen have been doing an admirable job in defense. And now I see that, okay, I have enough time. I can commit a full squad of footmen again to apply pressure on the boss. That's like the key thing about this map when you do it with the footman strategy. When can you commit the full footmen against the boss? When do you have to use some of the footmen to defend? And it doesn't look very good right now, because there's a lot of enemy minis all over the place. It's overtime. But we have another footman push coming. The boss doesn't have a ton of health, so we're in a pretty decent position overall. And now we can get some AoE damage in. Alright, we have pretty much everything here. We're putting a lot of pressure on the boss. Boss is not protected by too many minis, and Smite does fall. And next up is Cookie. I managed to pick up the Arcane Crystal Relic, so my elemental damage is now doubled. And that's gonna be pretty hilarious with the Living Bomb, because Arcane Crystal also doubles Living Bomb damage. It doesn't really affect this. With the Living Bomb, playing carefully, Cookie is not going to be a major obstacle. If you get here with your Living Bomb team, you should be able to get through. But that Living Bomb dealing double damage, yeah, that does make it a whole lot. I'm not even sure if I should say easier, because this is already... I'm fairly confident about this. If I can get through Smite, I can get to here, and I have Living Bomb in my deck, I'm already quite confident that I will win this one. Then it's more like a question of, do I also have tools to beat Sneed? Kind of hard to balance the tools to beat all of those, but here we can now see the double damage Living Bomb. Boom. Just doing beautiful work. If it didn't have double damage, then some of those minis would survive at fairly low health. I would still be able to take the initial tower. It wouldn't convert immediately. I would have to use my minis to push for the tower, but then I would be able to take the left tower on the first push anyway. And from there it would just be rinse and repeat. Living Bomb, whenever Cookie gets the big team, respond to the smaller teams, try to make a bit of a push every now and then. That's just the story. Bit of a defensive footman placement there. Defending against what's coming there, and so that we are ready to make another Living Bomb. As you can see, we have lots of time here, so even if I didn't have the talent, then a relic, then it would have just been rinse and repeat a couple of more times, and Cookie is down. And finally there is Sneed with the copier. This is a little awkward now that I don't have the miner in my army, so I can't send my Dark Iron Miner. I can't send Dark Iron Miner out there to be copied. The first copy is always going to be those sappers. That will always happen, but the subsequent copies I would be able to affect those. However, we're just going to roll in and see what we can do. Even if you get bad copies, as long as you remember that getting the bridge can really affect everything, then you're pretty much fine. I'd accidentally sent my miner to the wrong direction there, but luckily the miner got copied anyway, just their miner. So now we have the first tower. That's the good start, and we are ready to roll. Now there's a Molten Giant, and the Molten Giant does get copied. My miner was a little late, but I have Pyromancer on the bridge. And I have Batrider on the bridge, and I have the relic for double elemental damage. Even if I didn't, I have survived these Molten Giant pushes whenever I can set up a bridge control like that, so I already knew at this point that those Molten Giants would not be a problem, no matter what. Here I'm slightly concerned about getting my Batrider copied, because, well, I don't actually have a lot of units that can shoot at Batriders, but luckily what gets copies instead is a Defias Bandit, so it's all good. And now that I have taken the first tower, and I have survived the Molten Giant incident with control of the bridge, then we're ready to roll and move ahead and shoot the other tower. My save pilot timing messed up a little bit there, so the Ogre Mage survives, but it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be totally fine. No worries whatsoever, it didn't survive with that much health. Now, second tower is down, and soon it's going to be up on my side. And from here, we are going to start pushing at Sneed. And from this position, the only way that I can lose is if the copier gets to copy really powerful units multiple times. Then I could still lose this. But now I was able to feed it a Defias Bandit, so no worries there. There's a Molten Giant coming, which did not get copied. You do have to remember to also defend against the Molten Giants. Once I forgot to defend against the Molten Giant, that also hurt. But, so now I'm really concerned here about that. Like, okay, hey, there's that Molten Giant, I need to do something about that one too. But I'm sending some footmen to defend that. And then I'm also worried now about my tower. Okay, I guess there are some things that can go wrong here still. But Grommash just standing there looking brave saved the tower. Great job, Grom, great job. Couldn't have asked for more. And now it's time for Grom to start pushing. Let's get Grom some support. We're attacking from both sides. And Sneed is going to be under a lot of pressure very, very soon here. Another missed safe pilot, I guess, but it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine. We have the pressure up and Sneed is going down, and that's how you clear Deadmines with a Grommash army with no talents whatsoever. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.